For the fan base, for the media, let's just keep it real. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Player to Be Named Later. I'm G-Man. Let's get into a little Raptors talk. This team has to make you laugh. For all the doubters and wondering what's going on, and you know, the fan base or media who just wonders about Masai, you know, why are you guys so against talent? Like, it just seems like all you want to do is hoard draft picks like Oklahoma City. You have to remember, the way Oklahoma City got all their draft picks was like a 2-year window to do that, when teams really wanted a big three and they were only going to win if they had a big three, and Sam Presti just took advantage of that. But when you look at what Masai did at the deadline, getting Brandon Ingram for the 2 assets that he sent to New Orleans, these were 2 guys that playoff teams wanted badly. And look where they ended up, in New Orleans. And it's because playoff teams were offering Masai second rounders, like nothing role players. You know, they just thought that they were tradable assets. Obviously, they were going to leave the Raptors, not even in Kelly Olynyk's case, because he had just signed a new deal. But knowing that he wanted out and to probably play for a contender. And look where they ended up, in New Orleans. Brandon Ingram is not just, you know, everyone wonders about his injury history. Well, what about OG's injury history? Look how long we dealt with OG for. How many years? 6 years? 7 years? I mean, he didn't even contribute to the chip. He never played that entire playoff run. We've seen how often he got injured and how long he would take to get back. So what's the problem with Brandon Ingram signing here, taking less money to come here because he wanted a restart and he thought Toronto would be a good place for him? You know, players like him just don't come, they're not readily available like that. And I know everyone is sulking about not getting a Cooper flag, but chances are maybe you weren't going to get him anyway. Think about what's going on in San Antonio right now, and how San Antonio got Victor Wembanyama. What's happened now in 2 years? No playoffs. Now Wemby's out with blood clots, unfortunately. That's a really serious injury. Obviously his health comes first, and you hope he comes back. But the whole point is, you know, this is why players like him even say, don't tank. You never know what's going to happen. So that's a lot of pressure that he now has to sit with. He can't do anything for 6 months, apparently. This is why to sit and question what Masai Ujiri and Bobby Webster are doing in terms of building this team. You know, they built a champion without any lottery picks. None of that team came from the lottery. You can't really question the talent that he's adding. And now you look at what's going on with the team, and you know, obviously everyone wants them to keep, you know, more losses than wins, which, you know, I totally understand. But I think an ethical tank is still going on the way they're basically playing their depth and part of their G League roster for next year. And it actually shows how good this and talented Masai and Bobby hit on the draft last year, because Jacoby Walter, Jamal Shed, Mobile before he got hurt, Grady before he got hurt, Jameson Battle, even picking up Orlando Robinson. These guys can spot talent, and we shouldn't be questioning it. For them to beat Orlando, who basically played, you know, they have some injuries on their team, but basically played, they had their 2 best players, their 2 studs in Banchero and Wagner. They also had Wendell Carter, you know, obviously Jalen Suggs is out. But when you think about what they played against the Raptors, you know, the Raptors had their guys too, but weren't playing them down the stretch. They played their young guys and gave them the minutes to develop. And, you know, this isn't the start of the year. So everyone at the start of the year, I saw a lot of writers. I seen one in particular at the beginning of the year complain about, oh, you know, is this what the Raptors have come to? Where's the talent? We're going to have to struggle through the season watching this. And now all of a sudden you see, because their young guys have gotten a lot of experience throughout the season and playing in certain situations, you're seeing how much they have developed and how good those draft picks actually were. And I think when you add in a healthy team next year, this team was not healthy from the beginning of the year and had to deal with that schedule. IQ was gone for the first part of the season. Even Bruce Brown and Kelly Olynyk delaying their surgeries, and they were gone for the first part of the season. Scotty was in and out. RJ was in and out. Jakob too. I mean, they just had so many injuries to deal with, and now you look at them getting a little consistency because the young guys had to play at the beginning of the year. You're seeing what their development is. And just the one thing I didn't like yesterday, or was unfortunate to see, was after they waved off Jamal's buzzer beater, which was an unreal play. When you think about who he did that against, Marcus Smart and their number one pick, Sar. He, with his length, he still got that ball up high enough and off the square, literally a tenth of a second, and that would have counted. Unbelievable play by Jamal. But he just smiled and was like, all right, well, at least the loss is almost like a win. I just hope that mentality doesn't stick. I don't think it will. I think, the way this team is programmed, and Scotty really wants to win. IQ really wants to win. RJ, they really want to win every night. They don't care about what position they end up in the lottery, and I don't blame them. They're competitors, and even though they're young, they're all veteran guys. When you think Scotty's a veteran, IQ's a veteran, RJ's a veteran, and they're still 23, 24, 25. That's what Raptor fans and the media should be looking at. If they don't end up getting Cooper Flag, they don't need a Dylan Harper. My best addition to this team out of the top three would be Ace Bailey because of his length. Like I say, I think Evan Mobley's a problem, and there's a lot of guys with length out there like Banchero and Wagner that you have to account for. But another guy to watch is Malwatch from Duke, 7'2", just imposing center there for Duke. I think he would make a huge difference. Obviously, the front office, they can see the talent they need for this team, and there's already a lot of talent. And I've read articles about guys watching Ryan Russillo. I think he's more of a New York-based guy, if I'm not mistaken, and he's trying to put the screws to what the Raptors have built and why are they paying so much money to all these guys. Well, I'd rather spread out the money with 5 guys who can give me 20 every night than give it to 3 guys who can't even get their act together. And then you look at a team even like the Knicks. Where's the depth on that team? Jalen Brunson goes down now. The way Tibbs plays his guys into the ground, it's only a matter of time, really, and you're going to see what happens with the Knicks. And having a good team with depth spread out, I think you have Boston, for example. They're going to be paying both Jays over $60 million next year. They're not the only team. And the Raptors, everyone knows, can attract free agents like some of those, the big market, big name teams in the States. Obviously, the way they've set it up for them can. So when you can add a Brandon Ingram to the core that's already here in Toronto, and believe me, those salaries aren't as big as they seem. With the salary cap going up, they know what they're doing managing the salary cap. They already have a good depth built because of hitting on the draft last year. So wherever they land in this draft, they still have a shot at number 1. You never know what happens with that pick. We've seen it in the past go to teams as high as 10, 11, 12. So you never know what happens with the number 1 pick. There is a lot of talent to be had in this draft. The Raptors have showed even last year, adding Jacoby at, I believe it was 17, adding Mobo at 32, adding Jamal Shed in the 50s, getting Jameson Battle unsigned. They can spot the talent that they need for this team. And if you ask me, Jamal Shed reminds me more of Kyle Lowry than Fred VanVleet. I think that finish last night proved that. He doesn't get his shot swatted like on every drive to the basket. I know that's his guy, but I like the way Jamal Shed looking more like Kyle Lowry to me than Fred VanVleet. So yeah, I think the Raptors are in a unique spot with all the talent they've built. I don't think RJ should be on the trade block at all. I think you should at least, give this team 1 year as healthy as they can be coming out the gate next year and see what you have. You need a guy like RJ who not only is shooting the three ball well, but really puts the pressure on the defense internally. With Brandon Ingram coming back next season, if he's out there on the perimeter waiting for, a kick out, he can create at all different levels, even just to get to the mid-range. That's what's needed in the NBA. I think Jakob fits in perfectly as not only the oldest, probably veteran that they'll have, but a big body, but they need that stretch three. I like Chris Boucher, but he might be someone to look out for. Maybe he wants to get minutes somewhere, which he deserves, man. Like, Chris deserves the minutes, so he's a free agent. I hope he signs back with the Raptors, but let's see what happens. And I think the Raptors are in a good place, again, with their draft position, whatever it ends up being. They are still going to get an influx of talent here. They're already at a squad that, is probably going to go 10 deep anyway. All the good teams have that. All the good teams were built both through the draft and through acquisitions. So a note to the inferiority complex that is out there for Raptor fans and some Raptors media. Don't listen to what the Americans have to say about their analyzing the Raptors roster and what are we doing. All they think is that the Raptors are perpetually supposed to tank and be bad, but develop players so that they can come snatch them. A perfect example is OG. All of a sudden, he's a defensive god now that he's in New York, and we've been screaming that for 7 years. But they're gonna learn about OG soon. Like, no one's saying anything about his offensive game expanding now or defense, but when he gets hurt, he gets hurt. And I like the fact that we got back RJ and IQ. Yes, IQ's been hurt too, but we can see what he can do when he's healthy and on his game. The Raptors are a problem next year, whether people like it or not, whether the current fan base, who all they want is Cooper Flag, wants it or not. Just accept the fact that there's talent on this team. No one should be questioning Brandon Ingram and his injury history when they were perfectly fine with OG Anunoby and his history. And I think next year when things play out, they're healthy. There's obviously a different schedule. Hopefully they don't get the short end of the stick again. But if they're healthy coming out of the gate next year, there's a lot to like. And I don't care if they're in the play-in or just make the 8th or 7th seed. The whole point is they're not going to win it in 1 year anyway. I don't know what people expect, thinking that, I don't want to just be in the middle of the pack every year. Did you not notice that they were basically, they were finishing, second or third, maybe fourth. But if you're not number one in the conference, what are you? The rest of the pack. So it doesn't matter. Like, they did that for 6 years before they won that championship. The whole point is to get playoff experience, is to win, for your young guys to win big games in those big moments. Well, you shouldn't be complaining about what's going on with their development and how bad it's making their draft position get. Because at the end of the day, they're going to add talent. So, rant over. Anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Hope everyone out there is doing well, has some good vibes, keeps the peace and love. Everyone knows this world needs it right now. The world needs a big hug. That's what they need. There's just so much going on in North America, in Europe, obviously all over the world. It's just, there's a lot of sadness, but sports brings us together. I hope everyone has that commonality wherever they live. And thanks for watching. Please continue to watch and support and send me comments and watch me on TikTok and YouTube. And I'll see you on the next video.